Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson. That's Nathan Fox. We're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Go.
Dear Team Demon, I'm writing this email to inquire about the effectiveness of retaking PTs that I took more than a year and a half ago. Since I've been studying for the LSAT for a while now, I finally reached the very first PT that I took, and I scored 176 on it today. I thought that many of the questions in the PT might be familiar, but surprisingly, they weren't at all. I barely finished all the sections in the given time, guessing on one or two questions at the end, and still scoring a 176. So there's a lesson there, which is, even to score 175 plus, you just don't have to finish these sections. So I'm glad that you're not rushing. I personally feel like it's effective to do these tests I've seen before, because not only can I see how much progress I have made so far, but also the ones that I got wrong clearly show my weaknesses. Ben, that's something that I've heard you say a lot of times on our podcasts before, that, hey, if you redo a test and you miss the same question again, that clearly the test is telling you that there's something there that you're not yet grasping.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on retaking PTs after a considerable amount of time? If you think it's not an effective way, then what should I do instead? Also, I took the official LSAT twice and I got 164 for my highest score. Assuming that I take the January LSAT and get 170, my PT average for the last 5 PTs is 171. Is it wise to apply to law schools in February, or should I get greedy and wait for the next cycle? I'm 31 next year, so I feel like waiting for another year is quite socially costly. I'm an international applicant, and I got my bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley about 6 years ago with a 3.59 official Credential Assembly Service GPA. Thank you, Q.
Okay, lots of questions here. Going back to retaking the LSAT, not retaking the LSAT, retaking practice tests. I think you always have to realize that whatever score you get on a test you retake may not reflect what you would get if you had taken it the first time. But that doesn't matter. As long as you're getting questions wrong, the test is giving you questions that you can learn from. So I don't have any problem with people retaking them.
I would probably prefer that you do new tests that you haven't seen to old tests that you have seen. But if you're out of tests, we have 100 practice tests roughly.
Yep.
And if you've already done all 100 of them, but you're still prepping for the LSAT, then yeah, redo tests you've seen before. I don't have any problem with that. I just would say, don't start repainting the Golden Gate Bridge before you've finished painting it all the way in the first place. Right? Do you agree with that? What? There's not any circumstance where we would recommend that people redo PTs they've already seen.
No, if you want, just drill. Add those tests that you've already completed to drilling, and you can encounter questions based on skill level. It's a better use of your time.
Okay, cool. You want to talk about this waiting question? Gio says, I'm 31 next year, so I feel like waiting for another year is quite socially costly. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Well, there are so many things, right, in this world that people spend a lot of money on because they're worried about the social costs.
Yeah.
Right? I got to get that nice car. I got to get that nice house because it looks bad socially if I don't have those things. But what do they cost you? They cost you a lot financially. You really have to question the value of those things. If you don't have a problem wasting money on things for people in other contexts, then maybe you can save yourself money here and just realize that most people don't care about your situation as much as you think they do.
Also, 1 year doesn't make any difference. Being 30 or 31 or 32, you're old to the 21-year-olds and you're young to the 40-year-olds. Who gives a shit? I don't know where this social cost, maybe the social cost is coming from your parents.
There's somebody, right? There's somebody who's looking, or maybe, socially, it's got to be what other people think.
If you're referring to law school itself, no one's going to give a shit because the K through JDs already think that you're the old person in the class at 30 or 31 or 32. To the extent that they notice at all, there's no differentiation between 30,
They're not
31, and
gonna,
32 if
they're
you're
not gonna,
21. You
yeah,
don't
were they going to
care.
ask you? How old are you exactly?
Well, yeah, one, they just probably don't have any way of even knowing how old you are.
Yeah.
Two, to the extent that they did care, one more year, one more or one fewer year makes no difference, right? It just doesn't. How's that going to affect anybody? And then from the professor's point of view, if that's what you're worried about, like the professors probably just don't even see that maybe they recognize that you're a little older, a little more mature.
Can only be good for you.
It can only be good for you, not bad. Law firms, if you're worried about, well, I graduating and then like it's going to be hard for me to get a job at 35. I don't think so.
No, they're going to be like, you had a job before, you know how this shit works. We're not going to have to train you.
Yeah, you actually thought about it. You didn't just go straight. You're not going to be another miserable K through JD person who comes into my firm with all these great, perfect grades, perfect LSAT, kills it in law school, and then comes into my firm and then has a crisis at age 25 about like, what am I doing with my life, and washes out.
Yeah.
They don't want that either. They want somebody who's serious and capable of spending time and making thoughtful decisions. I don't see how it hurts you at all. I do see how it hurts you a ton, though, to apply in February.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben laughs because it's one of the biggest tragic mistakes you can possibly make. Also, Q's not even done with their LSAT yet, right? So
yeah.
This plan is like going to put so much pressure on the January LSAT.
Decreasing the likelihood of success.
Right. Decreasing the likelihood that you're actually going to be successful in January, because you're going to be like, well, I can't retake it in February because I'm going to apply this cycle.
Yeah.
And so instead you should be thinking, I'm taking it in January. I'll take it also in February if I need to. I'll take it in April if I need to. You've only taken it twice so far, Q. So you've got 3 more chances at least.
Wow.
3
You
more
could get
chances
like a
within the next 5
172.
years.
What if you got a 170 and then you took it again and you got a 172? I mean, that alone is a huge change.
Right. Yeah. You're still studying. You seem like you're enjoying it. You seem like you've been making progress. Why would you settle for a 170? Why wouldn't you exhaust all of your attempts, maybe get a 175, and then completely change the types of offers that you'll get if you apply early with early with a 172 instead of late with a 170 is already a home run.
Yeah.
You're worried about the social costs, but you need to be worrying about the costs, the financial costs, the actual money costs.
Yeah.
Because, and again, I said this a lot, but if law school cost $5,000 a year, I wouldn't maybe be so strident about this. But when law school costs $50,000 a year, it's a moral imperative, I consider it, to yell at you guys to please think deeply before you accept one of these offers. And please think about the way you're applying to law school. You've got to be thinking about the financial costs, not the social costs.
Yep.
Cool.
Thanks for writing in. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.